Hello everyone and welcome live to 3Y TV, tonight's broadcast of the Total Nonstop Racing 3Y TV Cup presented by Schue's Lawn Service. I am Peter Short and alongside me for tonight's Back Channel Productions 175 is Bob Giacchino. And Bob, great to be here at this 7/8 of a mile speedway in the state, probably best known for corn, Iowa Speedway, always one of the best races on the calendar.
Absolutely, this track really has everything, multi-groove racing, a lot of really close racing, and a lot of people kind of equate this track to being just like Richmond, but with a little bit more space out there and a few different driving lines. This one's a little bit better rather than Richmond, with multi-grooves, and you can really kind of race anywhere and everywhere, as we see a pretty big wreck there from that 97 machine of Mike Floppy Tellier. Pretty good season so far for him, fourth in practice right now, but yeah, Peter, this race going to be a fun one tonight.
All right, we got to figure out what happened here to Mike Floppy Tellier as he went off into the corner. Here he goes. Oh my goodness, just snaps on him, and then he turned into an absolute Beyblade there. Just doing, I wonder how many spins he did. Let's see if we can go back and catch just how many spins he did. All of a sudden, but it happened very fast. That could be an omen of what to expect here tonight at this speedway here in practice. Going off into turn number one here, Bob. Back end just kicks out a little bit, tries to correct it up into the wall. There's one rotation, two rotations, three rotations, beating Tony Hawk, four rotations, 5 and 6, and we're still going. Make that 7 full rotations there for the number 97, and make that a half rotation right there on the end. So I'm not going to do the math, but that is probably about 2,400 degrees of revolution we just saw there out of the number 97 of Mike Floppy Tellier. Hopefully that doesn't happen to him in the race, as well, it looks like they're going nice and slow, but they're actually going full speed. There is the number 17 there, Tristan Thuggy Maher, as we get things rolling. Just about 1 minute, 23 seconds left here, and the number 17 is fastest of all here at the Iowa Speedway. Bill Edwards second, and number 39, Jeff Price, sitting in third.
Yeah, Peter, right now the top 5 all separated by about 1/10 of a second on the track. So this is going to be a close one here in qualifying, but one of the things to really look out for here at Iowa is that seam right where those dotted lines are. Anything lower, you're going to be fine, but as soon as you start splitting the seams, this track is progressively banked, so the higher up the racetrack you go, the more banking there is. So, you kind of have to watch out, because that change in banking could upset the race car. There's a few pretty nasty bumps, almost like whoops in a dirt race, or in a rallycross race, up towards the top of turns 1 and 2 that could really upset the race car. So, this is definitely going to take a lot to handle for this track tonight. And with these guys racing side by side like this, it's going to take some concentration to go race long racing like this.
Yeah, that is for sure. On board here with Tristan Thuggy Maher, 150 miles an hour for him in that machine here tonight, as he races off into turn number 1 and 2. You see those bumps that you saw right there, those whoops that you were talking about. They're going to have to contend with that all night long as the checkered flag falls here in the qualifying session or practice session rather, as these drivers will move over into qualifying. And of course, this racetrack, 7/8 of a mile, kind of a unique length. The only racetrack that I know of that comes in at 7/8 of a mile in overall length. Rusty Wallace had a big part in the design and layout of this racetrack. He kind of wanted it to race a little bit like a Richmond, which was always one of his favorites, but also kind of wanted it to fit a void that no other track had fit at the time of its development there in the mid-2000s. So definitely an interesting racetrack, and it does tend to put on a good show here for the fans on 3Y TV. Speaking of the fans here on 3Y TV, I want to thank you for joining us here as we got 175 laps on hand here tonight. Johnny Williams saying hello all and welcome to the booth. If you're in the chat with us here tonight, why don't you give us a shout. We'd love to hear from you, see what you're doing here tonight, maybe what you're having for dinner, maybe what beverage you're enjoying as you're listening along here around this beautiful racetrack here. Track temperature is, well, it isn't as high as it could be if it was during the race, but it's not quite what I would consider very cold. You see that track temperature there sitting at 89 degrees Fahrenheit. The ambient temperature, track temperature is 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Ambient temperature is 89. So it's pretty toasty out here for these drivers, as the number 39 machine, who was fast in practice a little while ago, was in the top 3. He comes to the line. What can Jeff Price do in the Back Channel Productions machine here in the Back Channel Productions 175? He's only going to go 5th quickest, now make that 6th fastest, as Vincent Valvano bumps himself into the top 5. But Maher, fastest in practice, currently fastest in qualifying.
Yeah, and Maher put down an absolute fantastic lap, 23.680 on the board. And Jeff Price will see if he's going to be able to go faster his second time around. Does not look like he will. Looks like he's going to be slotting in 6th provisionally right now.
Yeah, that number 39 machine definitely could be higher up the board. Kevin Stone out there on the racetrack right now. Let's check on him. There is the number 14 machine, currently just outside the top 5. 5th place currently held by Philip Scott. Jamar Dumas in the number 28 sits in 4th. But Maher, the only driver to dip into the 23.6s so far. Mike Floppy Tellier, Bill Edwards in the 23.7 bracket. Then you have Dumas and Scott, both running identical 23.81 second laps. Kevin Stone also in that 23.8 second bracket. And then it's kind of a trickle down a little bit further down to Johnny Williams, who currently rides in 11th here. But still 2 minutes left for another driver to get out there into the racetrack, and we've got another driver doing so right now. That is the number 74, Jake Bustos. All black here tonight to kind of blends in with the sky. If well, hopefully the number 74 doesn't go flying. We've seen that here at iRacing before. But Bustos here doing good in his return to the Total Nonstop Racing League. Been very fast. Got a couple of podiums to his name as well since returning to the Total Nonstop Racing League. We'll see what he can do as he works his way out of turn number 2, now into turn number 3. He's going to use that higher line, which I don't necessarily prefer that line for qualifying, but he's going to get a good run here to the line. We'll see where he slots on the scoring pylon. Down in 10th. Not a great lap time for that number 74. Maybe he can pick it up here on lap 2.
Yeah, definitely. And looks like he got in the wall just a little bit there out of 2. So that'll unfortunately be the end of his qualifying run. And yeah, Peter, I guess that was a thing where he just wanted to try to get a run and, you know, throw a banker lap in for lap number 1 and then really get on it for lap 2. But unfortunately, catching the outside wall or having really any contact with the wall with iRacing will negate your lap for the most part. So unfortunate for him, and now looks like the track is going to fall silent with 12 qualifiers out there on the board.
Yeah, track is now quiet, so 40 seconds until it is made official that the number 17 will be our pole driver here tonight. I want to give a big shout out to our friends over at Back Channel Production and sponsoring tonight's event. Of course, Back Channel Production always featuring prominently on the hood of Jeff Price's number 39 Chevrolet. So we'll get to feature him here tonight as we race our way around. Of course, we do have one stage caution as well on hand. That will be coming out at the end of lap number 40 here tonight. Only one stage here in the Total Nonstop Racing League. If you're just now getting used to the TNR way, that's the way they do things here in this series. Just one caution flag. Well, one known caution flag at the end of the stage, and top 8 drivers do end up getting points. Oh, that's the wrong button. That is definitely not the right button. There we go. That's the button I wanted to do. I wanted to bring up our starting lineup here tonight because we are over in the race session. And Bob, why don't you take it away with tonight's starting lineup for the Back Channel Productions 175.
Tabletop Trio Pool Award is going to the 17 of Tristan Thuggy Maher, who ran a lap of 23.680 seconds. On his outside, the Canadian number 97, Mike Floppy Tellier. Row number 2 has the 50 of Bill Edwards, and on his outside, the 28 of Jamar Dumas. Row 3 has Philip Scott and Kevin Stone. Row 4, Jeff Price, Josh Sobel. Vincent Valvano and Jake Bustos round out your top 10, Peter.
Robert Tripp and Johnny Williams, the last two drivers to take time here tonight in 11th and 12th. Then a little bit further back behind them on row number 7, Andrew Beach and Stephen Doziak Jr., Garrick Leeson and Jason Schue rounding out our 16-car grid here tonight. Just waiting, I think, on our pole sitter, Tristan Thuggy Maher, to get his act together and get out there onto the grid. Also looks like someone alongside Vincent Valvano has yet to materialize as well. I think that's Jake Bustos a little bit further back there. You see a couple of each drivers still sporting their comic book schemes from last week at Talladega. It was the Swamp Thing, driven by Joshua Sobel, that was the overwhelming favorite by everyone. He's just now getting rolling out of pit road right there. Let's get another good look of the Swamp Thing. Oh, that's definitely not him. Where's the number 75? There's the number 75. Swamp Thing of Joshua Sobel was definitely a favorite last week. Really, really cool scheme, Bob. I have to say that one is probably as detailed as you can get with a comic book scheme. I mean, that thing is wrapped so well, so nicely, so neatly that it really does look like a professional job on that 75.
Yeah, really beautiful looking race car there. A lot of great schemes there last week at Talladega, but Josh definitely deserved that win for the paint scheme contest there with that, because that is, man, that's just beautiful.
Now, the iRacing Pace Truck does 2 pace laps here at the Iowa Speedway because of the fact that this racetrack is under 1 mile in length. Robert Stone asking, is Cameron Stone racing tonight? No. Cameron Stone here tonight on the Total Nonstop Racing League 3-Wide TV Cup. Stephen Doziak Jr. saying grilled cheese and sweet tea was his dinner. Mine was a smothered chicken sandwich with smothered in bourbon molasses sauce with tater tots. How about that? So it was a delicious dinner, and I enjoyed it very much so. Yeah, it was very nice. And a water on the side to try and keep those calories somewhat in check. But nonetheless, we got the iRacing Pace Truck about to head down onto pit lane. Green flag will be in the flagman's hand here very shortly. Bob, 175 laps tonight. It's not a short one here as we are getting close to the end of the regular season.
Yeah, only one more race to go. Next week at Charlotte will be the cutoff of the regular season, but the green flag is out. We're underway here as the 17 Tristan Thuggy Maher leads the field down into turn number 1. Mike Floppy Tellier there on the outside. They're side by side coming out of turn 2.
Yeah, great job there by Tellier and that number 97 to hold tough with our pole sitter Tristan Thuggy Maher as they come out of turn number 4. Who's going to get the run to the line to lead lap number 1? It looks like Tellier just had it by a fraction of a second. They were separated by only 1/100th of a second at the start-finish line that time. Tellier continuing to hold tough on that high line as they race halfway down the backstretch for the race lead. Racing all over the place here as we're working lap number 2. Coming to the line this time, I think Tellier's going to get the better hand of him once again.
Another great move there. Able to stick to the outside. It's a little bit longer way around the track, obviously on the high side, but you really carry that momentum off of the corner, which is able to propel you down the straightaway. And that's kind of been, you know, the key for the 97 right there, is he's still side by side with the 17 of Maher as they come back across the line again.
So Mike Floppy Tellier doing all he can to try and grab the lead. You know, with these next-gen cars, Bob, I've been hearing that aero dependency is extremely important. Maybe that's what Mike Tellier is thinking about here, trying to get the lead so he can kind of control the air, and that time looks like he's able to finally clear the number 17 of Maher, so move the Canadian from Sarnia, Ontario to the race lead here on lap number 5 outright. The number 17 slides back into second. Look at Jamar Dumas. He's running in third. He's picked up a spot since the drop of the green. He started in fourth back there. Now, looks like Maher going to try the higher line up there towards the front of the field. He's going to get a run for the race lead here. Meanwhile, look at the back channel Productions machine there at the back of the screen. Starting to make some moves here in the back channel Productions 175. Around the outside, though, Maher liking that higher groove this time. I think he can clear the number 97. Now, if I'm Maher, I'm going up to that high line just like what the 97 did that last time to complete the pass, and that's exactly what happens. Maher completes the pass again as well. That's going to put, though, Jamar Dumas into the picture here to battle for second.
Yeah, Dumas takes a look to the inside, and Peter, like you said, these cars are very, very aero dependent. They have a little bit of a gap right down the center of the race car. The front end isn't completely sealed up to the racetrack, which allows air to get underneath the car, but also because of that, they have the diffuser in the back. But even with the diffuser able to help with the turbulent air a little bit, it still really upsets the front end of this car, and you almost get a bit of an aero push there. As, oh, we see the 14 of Kevin Stone. He got a little squirrely there going through turns 1 and 2. I don't know if that was aero or if what we saw from the 97 of Mike Floppy Tellier in practice, where, you know, got a little loose, almost had to overcorrect, had it snap, but luckily for Stone, he was able to get that saved.
Yeah, I think what had happened there was a little bit of a checkup in front of him because Bill Edwards made the pass on the number 28 of Jamar Dumas, and they kind of had a little bit of a checkup, and in order to avoid running into the back of the 28, I think it was, Kevin Stone had to check up, did a good job of keeping all 4 tires underneath him, and lived to fight another day. Meanwhile, one driver not living to fight another day, that is the number 9 machine, Johnny Williams, who has parked his race car here tonight, becomes our first retiree. A little bit of a stern park there out of Johnny, unfortunately, but he will be a 16th place finisher here tonight. Jason Schue and the number 35 back there, Robert Tripp, battling for position. In fact, there's a good couple battles for position. Let's see if we can kind of keep our eyes as they come off of turn number 2. There's the battle for the race lead, then good battle for the 3rd position. Then back where Vincent Valvano, big gap back to Andrew Beach, and then behind him, Stephen Doziak Jr. is leading a little charge as well of drivers. So a couple of good battles out there on the racetrack. Really, the only driver that I would consider in no man's land at this point is Andrew Beach, just outside of the top 10 in the 11th position here. As we work lap number 12, remember stage caution will be coming out at the end of lap number 40, but caution flag waves for the first time here tonight. We're hearing that Jason Schue may have been involved. Let's keep our eyes here on the number 3 machine as, Garrett Gleason in front of him. Oh, Garrett goes up the racetrack and kablamo, smack right into the side of the number 7. That is really unfortunate for a couple of drivers that were a little bit further back in the pack. Looks like they're out of the corner. Bob Garrett got loose and couldn't keep up with it. The bump down there on the inside of the racetrack didn't seem to help either.
Yeah, just such a tough break there for the 3 of Jason Schue. That had happened to him a few weeks ago at Atlanta, I believe it was, where Johnny Williams had a similar issue as the 7 of Gleason, and, you know, just kind of cut across the track and lost control as he was sliding up, and Schue was the innocent victim. And that's exactly what happened here again tonight, where Schue was just kind of minding his own business, and unfortunately he catches a Z-Horse right through the windshield.
You know, let's watch this one more time, maybe from a slightly different angle, but look what happens with Gleason. He comes down off the racetrack and just catches the grass right there, and I think it's that grass that might have been the nail in the coffin for the number 7 Chevy Camaro, but the Comans Care number 7 in need of quite a bit of more care here tonight. Unfortunately, Garrett in the number 7 is on pit road, as is Jason Schue. I expect those drivers to both have extended stays on pit lane here tonight. Let's see if we can check in with one of our drivers. In fact, let's see if we can dial up driver of the number 17 machine, Tristan Thuggy Maher, if he's available. Where is Thuggy? There is Thuggy. We'll drag him up here into the booth. Tristan Thuggy Maher, Peter Short 3YTV booth. Got a copy?
I do have a copy, Peter. How you doing?
I'm doing well. It seems like you're doing well out there as well. How's the racetrack driving here?
The racetrack feels good. It's a little bit weird. It's really fun and stuff on fresh tires, but you have to be really careful not to burn your stuff up because the car builds really loose the longer you get into the run. So it gets pretty difficult exiting the corners, and even entering the corners gets really hard on old tires.
Well, we see those different lines in effect. Do you think the drivers are going to kind of work their way up the racetrack as the run goes on, or do you think that inside line is going to be where most of the people stay to?
I think it's definitely possible that the outside line, at least in 3 and 4, can become viable on older tires. In 1 and 2, the outside's pretty rough out there, so I'm not sure you can gain much time. But 3 and 4, I think it's definitely possible, and I definitely think that regardless of where you're running, as long as you're on the outside of another car, you can kind of keep them pinned down and get the better run off the corner.
Well, definitely going to be interesting to see exactly how this racetrack transitions as rubber continues to get laid down here tonight. 175 laps, a little bit of a long one. Any thoughts in the back of your mind about this race being so long? Anything different about the way you're going to attack it?
Fuel for sure. Fuel. I think we can go 75 to 80 laps on a tank. So this one kind of puts us at this is a weird time for a caution, I think. Nobody pit, so it's going to be kind of weird on fuel, and then obviously saving tires is of utmost importance.
Well, definitely going to be interesting to see how it all plays out when the checkered flag finally does fall at the end of the night. But Tristan, a little bit of a long caution here, so glad we were able to check in with you. I think those pace truck lights here about to turn off. We'll let you get back to it.
Thanks, Peter. Thanks for giving me something to do during those pace laps.
No problem. We'll let him get back to it here in the Back Channel Productions 175. But Bob, long race here tonight, 175 laps, and already mindful of fuel and tires even at this stage of the game.
Yeah, definitely. It's one of those things where it's easier to save fuel at the beginning of the run than it is at the end of the run, and it's just going to be tough here for these drivers just to kind of gauge, okay, I really want to go, I want to run as fast as I can, as hard as I can, but I also need to save fuel and tires. I mean, this track can be pretty tough on tires as well, so a lot of saving here, and if you're kind of racing side by side, you kind of have to weigh the pros and cons by saying, okay, yeah, I want this position, but at what cost?
At what cost? We will have to find out here. Green flag waving once again, just past the 1/10 race distance here in tonight's event. Good battle a little bit further back. Look at this. Back around the number 99 of Philip Scott, whipping around the outside, almost contact with Jamar Dumas in the number 28. I think Philip had to back out just a little bit in the World Ninja League 99, but there's more contact as Bill Edwards in the 28, Jamar Dumas. Bang doors right there in the middle of 3 and 4. It's getting spicy here. We're only 19 laps in, but Bob already starting to see a little bit of bumping and banging here. They say this racetrack races like a short track. It's on the longer length of the short side, but nonetheless, already beating and banging.
Yeah, that's for sure. And, it's always been interesting to me the way restarts kind of work out. The first one, everyone is super cautious. They're not exactly sure what they have under them. But then that second restart, things can get a little dicey. Some guys will have a better feel of their car than others. They're going to try to stick that move in where, they probably maybe either shouldn't have, or it would have been a little bit more of a risky move. And that's kind of something we just saw right there. Edwards kind of just sticking the nose in underneath and able to make the move and keep that move, make that move stick. But, oftentimes we see where, driver's going to make a move and maybe it wasn't exactly the best time for it, but sometimes you just got to jump on those opportunities, and that's what the 50 of Bill Edwards did.
And up at the front of the field, the number 97 of Mike Floppy Tellier has got himself back up to the race lead. And look at Bill Edwards all of a sudden starting to get a little bit dicey. We are just 18 laps away from when we'll see the stage caution come out. The top 8 drivers receiving points in descending order. The winner of the stage gets 8 points all the way down to the 8th place finisher who gets 1 currently. That is Jeff Price here. Driving the Back Channel Productions machine. Let's go check on him. Racing with Jake Bustos. Says, whoa! Philip Scott making a dive underneath Dumas right there. My, oh my, that was a pretty big move from the number 99, but now he's got those bumps to contend with, doing a good job getting the power down. He's going to move himself up to 4th, but look at this logjam back behind him. Here comes Kevin Stone looking to the inside of the number 14. He's all the way down to the bottom side of the racetrack. He doesn't have that progressive banking, the extra bank angle up in the middle and upper grooves. You just don't have that when you're down there on the bottom. It makes your race car a little bit more understeery. Now, Jake Busto's going to go down there, use that flatter portion of the racetrack. It's shorter down there, trying to make that move, but currently Kevin Stone holding on to that spot. Now, Kevin going to use that middle groove, see if he can get the power down up off of turn number 4. He can, clears Bustos as they continue to snake down the front stretch. But meanwhile, in front of the field, here comes Bill Edwards starting to make some noise. He wants those 8 bonus points for winning the stage here in just a couple of laps.
Yeah, Bill Edwards started P3, currently running in 2nd place, and just tracking down Tellier pretty slowly each lap, but he's slowly but surely making his move right on the back bumper now of the 97 Mike Floppy Tellier. He started, in 3rd, fell back a few spots after that yellow, though. He's been full steam ahead, and right now he's putting pressure on the 97, but here's Tristan Thuggy Maher looking to the inside of Edwards.
Yeah, how quickly this race appears to be changing. We had Tellier up front, then Maher up front, then that caution, Tellier back to the lead. We saw Bill Edwards have a fight, had a stab at the lead, wasn't able to do anything. Now he's back to 3rd, and now look at the number 99. Philip Scott starting to creep up into this picture. I mean, I'm curious to know whether tire wear is just worse than I expected it to be. The top leaders just ran a 24.8 lap time. That's about 0.8 of a second slower than the best laps that they've run here tonight. So a decent amount of fall off here in the opening 30 laps as Thuggy Maher goes to the inside of Tellier. Tellier has that outside groove, at least for now. Bob, it seems like the high line through 3 and 4 is where you want to be if you either want to hold on to a spot or whether you want to complete a pass. I just really like the way that high line is working. High line through 1 and 2, however, usually does not work as well. But Tellier there trying to prove me wrong as he was able to hold tough with the number 17 all the way through 1 and 2. And now here comes Bill Edwards going to have another sniff at the lead. This is some great racing, and we're only on lap number 30 here tonight.
Yeah, some close quarters battling right here. And Peter, like you said, that top line in 1 and 2 really not working out all that well unless your name is Mike Tellier. And even then, he kind of abandoned the high lane, went down low, and now he's going to get a pretty decent run on the 17, but unfortunately not able to get to it. Bill Edwards right on his back bumper, you can see in that mirror. But, it's just one of those things where the top line, it might be faster, but, it's also going to be a little bit more tire wear up there as well. So, you kind of have to balance that out. I know there's 9 laps until the end of the stage, but also you have to sit there and, say, okay, I did this many laps. If I don't take tires, I'm going to fall like a rock. But at the same time, if there's a late caution, I can throw these tires that I save here at the yellow and throw them on and be a little bit faster at the end of the race. So there's still a lot of different questions these drivers have to ask themselves just to see, how the rest of this race is going to be handled.
Yeah, we heard that Tristan Maher was already thinking of tires and fuel under that one and only caution that we've had here tonight for the spin out of the number 7 of Garrett Gleason, who remains on pit road. Jason Schue has returned to the mix, but he is currently 17 laps down. Doing a report that Johnny Williams, I thought that he had retired the number 9 as we see Bill Edwards make that pass, but Johnny's back out there 6 laps down, trying to get some lucky dogs. Currently, he is in the lucky dog position if and when we get to the stage caution that is supposed to come out around lap number 40. Meanwhile, on the back half of this group, we got some battles back here. That's the number 28 of Jamar Dumas battling with the number 39 there of Jeff Price. Jake Bustos also in the mix. Like right now, the number 28 of Dumas in danger of falling outside of the top 8, because if he falls out of the top 8 here, he will not get any bonus points. And just like that, he is now down to 9th. Here comes the number 88 of Andrew Beach, who's starting to make some inroads on this front group. In fact, this whole group right here is kind of closing back together, Bob. You have to think maybe some of these drivers were electing to save tires early in the run, but as we get closer to the stage break, they know there are points on the line. As meanwhile, up at the front of the field, how about this? Getting word that number 17, Tristan Thuggy Maher, has been all but caught by the number 50 of Edwards. Battle on for those 8 points.
This is going to be a really good battle here. When they get to the line, there's only going to be 3 laps until the end of the stage. Tristan goes high. Bill Edwards takes a peek down low. Down low is obviously going to be the shorter distance around, but momentum's on the high side. Maher is going to be able to get this or keep this one ahead, and Edwards is going to have to fall back now about half a car length between he and the leader.
So Edwards trying to do what he can. Tellier still riding in 3rd. Philip Scott, Kevin Stone, and Josh Sobel. Sobel, however, starting to close in just a little bit on Kevin Stone. And Jake Bustos now able to get around Jeff Price, move him up into 7th as you keep your eyes on the left-hand side of your screen here in the Back Channel Productions 175. Edwards looking just a little bit lower there in turn number 1 and 2. I like the run that he got up off of turn number 2 that last time, but not quite able to do anything just with it. The number 17 of Maher holding that middle groove. Here comes Edwards, though, again having a sniff on that inside line. I really like the way the number 50 is rotating through the corner. I just don't know if there's enough time at this point in the race for him to make the pass. Meanwhile, Josh Sobel has made the pass on Kevin Stone, move him up into the top 5 as we have about 1.5 laps until the stage caution waves.
Yeah, Peter, I'm not sure if the 50 of Edwards is going to have enough time to get there. The last time by, they both ran 25.6s. Let's see what they are this time by 25.5 for Thuggy and a 25.6 for Bill Edwards. So, you know, pretty much even lap times, and if anything, the 17 rather is able to pull away just a little bit from the 50 last lap here in the stage.
Yeah, something happened a little bit further back. We'll keep our eyes, or we will get a replay of that here in just a moment as Tristan Thuggy Maher wins the stage here. We'll see the caution flag wave. There is the caution flag, second caution flag of the night here at the Iowa Speedway here in the Back Channel Productions 175. Thank you for joining us here on 3 Wide TV. Let's go check out the chat. RC Plains 59 in the chat. RC Plains, how are you? RC, you asked a question, I think, this past Friday night, and I don't think I was ever able to answer you about sponsoring an event. You said you had sent someone an email, but I wasn't sure what email you sent that to. So let me know if you can tell me there in the chat. I'd appreciate it. Right early angle in the chat as well, rooting on the number 99 of Philip Scott. But I expect to see most of the leaders on pit road here, at least for fuel, Bob. Maybe not for tires just yet if they're electing to save a pair, but definitely I expect to see them on pit road here very shortly to pick up at least fuel.
Yeah, definitely going to get fuel. I mean, we heard from Tristan earlier in the race where he expects about a 70 to 80 lap fuel window. Right now, we're halfway through that, so you definitely want to come down and top it off. As far as tires are concerned, I mean, you know, yeah, you want to get that fresh tire out there, but at the same time, if you don't put fresh tires on there, you're going to fall like a rock, and the drivers who did put fresh tires on, they're going to start flying up through the field, and before you know it, you're going to be lap traffic pretty quickly if you don't take tires. So I would almost expect the majority of the field to take it, unless there are a couple guys who are, going to gamble their way through. It looks like the 50 of Bill Edwards is taking tires. Looks like Maher is as well. So tires for the majority of the field here under these yellow flag pit stops.
It looks like Bill Edwards going to win the race off pit road. Maher second, Philip Scott, then Sobel and Tellier. And other drivers a little bit further back. But let's go back just before we got that caution flag to come out, because there was some good racing back around here. I saw a little bit of chaos. I think this was on lap number 39, so about a lap or two before that stage caution. But oh, look at Tellier. He got wicked loose there in the number 97. and somehow saved it. Man, how Tellier saved that number 97, I don't know. But then the battle was on between this group right here, as the number 75 of Josh Sobel able to power around the outside and really profit from that big mistake, that big wiggle out of the number 97. Let's see if we can go back maybe one more look at what happened here to the number 97. Let's see if we can go on board with the gyro cam. Here we go, on board. Look at this wiggle up there on the high side. You have to think maybe just between where the banking transitions to, between that scene where there's a transition in the bank angle of the racetrack, and maybe that just unnerved the number 97. Maybe it caused that rear diffuser to stop working. I don't really know, but nonetheless, it was a great save out of the Canadian driver to keep all four corners on it, as we see a couple of other drivers start to come down pit road. Can report Johnny Williams is our lucky dog under caution flag number 2.
Good run there for the 9 of Williams. Not sure if he had any technical issues or internet issues or anything like that, but good to see Williams back out there on the track, and he'll get his, I believe, his second Polyhedral Cathedral Lucky Dog Award of the year.
So Johnny Williams now sits 5 laps down here tonight. Rich Sobel joining us in the chat here tonight. Rich, long time no see. Hope you're doing well. Welcome back to 3 Wide TV. Really appreciate you joining along and riding along with us here as we whip our way around the Iowa Speedway here tonight for the Back Channel Productions 175. Let's see if we can maybe dial up the Swamp Thing. Let's see if we can get Joshua Sobel up here into the booth. Joshua, Peter Short 3Y TV booth, you got a copy?
Yeah.
Well, I think you're just going to have to be known as the Swamp Thing from now on, with sporting that beautiful look on that car. Overwhelmingly the winner last week in the paint scheme vote by the fans. But we got your Padre in the chat as well here tonight. So
nice.
how's that number 75 driving?
Great. I'm just trying to save. It gets pretty loose in the long runs, so I'm trying to make sure I don't sacrifice that right front too early, because then the entry to this track is insane, and it's, I don't know, man. I'm just trying to save as much as I can and then started pushing right at the end there.
Well, definitely you were making up big ground there late, finishing 3rd in the stage, picking up 6 bonus points in doing so. What's the key to saving that right front?
Just go ahead and, just kind of enter the corner a little sooner or a little shallower or whatever I'm trying to say. You know what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to just cut the corners back. I'm trying to think and listen and everything. And, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Well,
I'm half asleep, man. I'm trying to just survive.
We'll let you get back to it as the green flag coming out here in just a second. Pace truck heads down onto pit road, and oh no, he's not going. He's not thinking. He's asleep. He's still asleep. As the number 75 drops like a stone, not Kevin Stone, as Kevin Stone almost ran him over. He's going to drop almost, or it does drop outside of the top 10. The Swamp Thing came out and grabbed him.
Wow, I don't know if he spun the tires or was in the wrong gear or what exactly happened, but, green flag went, everyone went, Josh didn't, and just kind of felt like quicksand in the swamp there.
Yeah, down to the bottom of the swamp for the number 75 of Josh Sobel. That's the bad news for him. I have no idea why it was saying Bill Edwards was on pit lane. He definitely isn't on pit lane. He is your race leader right now. Got the lead off pit road. I believe, Bob, that maybe Tristan Maher overshot his pit box just a little bit. I'd have to go back and watch his pit stall, but I think I saw that out of the corner of my eye. As Maher, though, wants to jump back to the race lead, pick up where he left off. Mike Tellier, they're trying to get a 3rd spot, and maybe even 2nd spot back from Bill Edwards, as everyone snakes down the front stretch here. And, Bill Edwards, he's trying to get that race lead back here as we work lap number 50.
It looks like he's just taking the slow in, fast out approach into these corners where he's kind of backing out or backing the corner up just a little bit, able to get himself down to that inside line, use that lower banking to kind of help rotate his car a little bit. But that time by the outside line had much more momentum and now the 97 Mike Tellier's around him too.
Yeah, so Edwards slots into third here as a new fourth-place driver, Jake Bustos. We mentioned that he's had a couple of podiums to his name since returning to the league, and that number 74 looking good here tonight. Meanwhile, Mike Floppy Tellier is starting to look good in the number 97 down there. Hello Kitty, of course, the pink 97 right there. Trying to take that lead back where we saw him a little while ago. And Bob, you have to go back to that big wiggle that he had just a couple of laps before the stage caution right here out of turn number 4. What a great save from that driver of the Toyota Camry. You know, if you wad it up, you put it in the wall, you smack the wall, that could be night done. But he lost a couple spots, sure. But he kept all 4 corners on it. That is the most important thing at this stage of the game, is to keep that race car nice and clean so you can keep all the aerodynamic features, keep all the downforce, keep all the grip, because it's that grip that can get you to victory lane. As we're seeing one driver starting to struggle a little bit, that is Philip Scott. He's fallen outside of the top 6, maybe outside of the top 7 here, and Andrew Beach tries to whip around the outside of the number 88 as he does indeed complete that pass halfway down the backstretch. Phillips still trying to run that low line. Kind of curious there that Phillips dropping back. Phillips, one of those drivers who's been learning to save his tires. Remember, Bob, a couple seasons ago, Philip Scott could not save his tires worth a darn. Now, Philip Scott can definitely save his tires, and I think that's what he's doing here, although he is sliding back through the field, and you and I know that sometimes, even if you save your tires, it can be still difficult to make passes.
Yeah, definitely. And not only that, there is a way to save too much tire and really kind of shoot yourself in the foot there. Yeah, you saved your tires, but you're going to have a hard time getting around the pack, even with the better tires. So, you know, you kind of have to dance on that fine line of, you know, do I save too much? Did I not save enough? And, you know, kind of just feel the car out and race the racetrack as best you can, because, you know, sometimes you just got to, you know, do what's best for your race, and yeah, you just don't want to save too much.
Yeah, you don't want to fall back too much. You really have to balance what you do when you're one of these race car drivers. Just how big of a hole do you want to dig yourself out of? Once you kind of are able to turn on the speed and make your way back up through the field. As you see, Andrew Beach has also gotten around the number 20 of Jamar Dumas. That's the highest I think we've seen the number 88 so far here tonight. Meanwhile, at the very front of the field, Mike Floppy Tellier has turned on the jets. He's got himself up to about a 1.5 second lead over Tristan Thuggy Maher, maybe being a little bit of the tortoise versus the hare, and being the hare in this instance in the Hello Kitty machine. Maher in second, Bill Edwards still running in third. Here comes Jake Bustos, though, with a look to the high line, trying to get that power down onto the backstretch as they head off into turn number 3. I think Bustos is in the preferred position here, running that higher groove. He can definitely start to put that power down, and sure enough, Bustos moves himself back up onto the podium yet again here, and Kevin Stone just a little bit behind them. The number 14 starting to look good on that high side. Move Kevin Stone preliminarily up into 4th down the backstretch.
Yeah, Kevin Stone has been having himself a pretty good race so far. Started P6, currently running in 5th, putting on some good pressure there on the 50 of Bill Edwards for 4th right now. Looks like he might have gotten the position this last time by, but he's been having himself a really good, quiet race, and that's something you need here for the 14.
Yeah, number 14 up into 4th, trying to track down Jake Bustos in front of him. Tellier continuing to lay it on up at the front of the field, now over 1.5 seconds here in the back channel Productions 175. And speaking of back channel Productions, we got Jeff Price there in the back channel Productions number 39 Chevrolet, riding just outside of the top 5 in the 6th position in front of Andrew Beach to Jamar Dumas, and the 99 to Philip Scott. And then Joshua Sobel has been able to claw his way back up into the top 10 in the Swamp Thing. Go check out the chat here on 3Y TV. Rich Sobel saying, don't worry, Joshua, you still got plenty of time. And indeed he does. Still over 100 laps here on the scorecard at the Iowa Speedway left here tonight on 3 Wide TV and the 3 Wide Television Cups Series here in the Total Nonstop Racing League, presented by Schue's Lawn Service. Of course, Jason Schue in the field, but 17 laps down after earlier contact with the Zorse-powered number 7 of Garrett Gleason. Gleason has, I believe, retired his Chevrolet here, so I think that Zorse probably ended up dead there on the front stretch, Bob.
Yeah, unfortunately, I had to take it out back behind the garage area and just put it out of its misery. It's a tough break there for Garrett. Just kind of got loose coming out of 4, caught the inside grass, sent him back up the track, and Jason Schue was in the wrong place at the wrong time. But good to see Schue out there on the racetrack still, just trying to collect as many points as possible.
Now looking out front of the Swamp Thing here, this big battle right in front of him. You see Philip Scott trying to start to mix it up, but he's not able to get the power down on the inside line as that number 99 wanted to push up the racetrack. So Josh Sobel trying to take a little bit of an advantage out of this particular situation with those drivers being so racy in front of him. Of course, this group also seeing the leaders start to disappear off into the distance. Maher has definitely been closing in on Mike Floppy Tellier. Looks like Scott able to get kind of a little bit of a twofer there, 2 for 1. He moves himself from 9th up into 7th, and one fell swoop there in 1 lap. Great job there by Phillips to take advantage of that. I was expecting maybe the 75 to take advantage of that situation, but Philip Scott just said, you know what, it is time for me to start turning up the wick. Remember, we were saying that he's been saving tires. He's now 4 seconds behind the race leaders. Well, he just made the pass on 6th position, made it look easy. So things starting to turn up for the number 99 World Ninja League machine. As Jamar Dumas, speaking of going up, Dumas is almost in the outside wall. There's a lot of bumps up there. And, does scrape the wall off of turn number 2. Let's see if we can go back and catch that one here on a 3 Wide TV replay.
Yeah, there's some pretty nasty bumps up there in that third groove right by the outside wall. And, if you hit them at the right angle, they're going to send you straight up into that wall. And we'll see right here what happens to the 28. Got a little bit too high into the corner, hit those bumps, and just kind of bounce it off the wall a little bit. Shouldn't be anything too devastating for that race car, but, definitely a tough break, but he's going to keep running here.
Yeah, so the number 28 of Jamar Dumas losing that spot. Meanwhile, Josh Sobel has made his way on past Jeff Price as well. So moved the number 75 up another spot. The number 14 of Kevin Stone on pit road. Not sure if there's damage on that number 14 or not. If we can see maybe what happened to driver of the number 14. At least it looks like there might be a little bit of damage. He was already slow and off the pace. Let's see if we can go back maybe a little bit further and see what happened. He's still damaged and off the pace. All right, this is going to take a little bit of 3 Wide TV investigating because it's not coming up on my live timing and scoring program that he had a problem or something. Well, let's see if we can see what happened here to a driver who was having such a good run. Just a big wiggle there out of turn number 4. Bob tried to save it. Very similar to what happened to the number 7 of Garrett Gleason. And unfortunately for the number 14, slam bam into the inside wall. We had no caution in all of that madness. We stay green flag, but unfortunately for Kevin Stone, it looks like his night appears to be done.
And, the broadcaster's curse happens yet again, and I just feel awful for Kevin. We were just saying how he was having himself a good race and up through the top 5, and this happens a few laps later. So Kevin, again, I don't even know what to say at this point.
Yeah, Kevin Stone definitely does not have the best luck here on 3 Wide TV. Meanwhile, up at the front of the field, Mike Floppy Tellier holding on to a 0.4 of a second lead over Tristan Maher. Make that 0.3 of a second as the 17 Eclipse Photography number 17 wants to be over the moon with the race lead. and about a second back to the number 50, Bill Edwards, who has got around Jake Bustos, so moved the number 50 back up into the top 3. Philip Scott, who I was expecting to start to make some inroads on the top 4, well, he's still about 4 seconds behind. I was expecting him to kind of close on in, but he has moved up into 5th. Josh Sobel has moved up into the top 6 as well. So Sobel trying to still recover from that restart as Tellier has a little bit of a wiggle off turn number 4. But Bob, that's cross flags as Tellier again has a big wiggle. This number 97 doesn't look all too happy right now. And here comes Maher for the race lead as Bill Edwards has closed in greatly too.
Yeah, and right now, Peter, they're 34 laps into this race. No yellows or anything like that since the stage break. So, and we even heard from Tristan earlier saying that as the run goes on, these cars get looser and looser. And with the pretty warm temperatures that they have out there on the track, there's not going to be a whole lot of grip as we see it. Get a great angle of the 50 of Bill Edwards. But, you know, you kind of expect these cars to slide around a little bit more now that especially that it's an older run, or it's an older set of tires now, a lot of sliding going on. And wow, look at that. Edwards just blew by the 97 like he was standing still.
Yeah, let's go back and see that happen kind of on the 3-wide TV replay, because something must have happened to the number 97. We saw that he's been struggling with those tires on that Toyota Camry right through the center of turn number 3 and 4. Yeah, just a slide, another wiggle, another slide right there on the back end. Really, Tellier struggling right now. Here we go, back to live scenes. You see Tellier is now actually falling into the clutches back there of Bustos in the number 74 machine right there on your screen. This will be the battle for the 3rd position. It's a little bit of a ways back, about a second and 3/4 from this group to Philip Scott. Then Josh Sobel's another second back. But at least for right now, this is the best battle on the entire racetrack. There is a good battle back towards the 10th position as well. Bustos now looking to the inside here in turns number 1 and 2. And you just have to think here, Bob. Tellier's really got to start backing things down. Those tires are not happy. The one thing you don't want to do is wreck the race car, end up wadded up. That is a night done if that happens. Tellier trying to fight for dear life. We know he has a short run pace. If we get a short run at the end of this one, Bob, keep your eyes on that number 97, because he knows how to go out there and definitely be the hair on the short run. Maybe not the long run, but definitely the short run. That 97 looks fast.
Yeah, absolutely, Peter. And right now, this long run, these old tires are going to be warm. They're going to have a lot less grip. And how many times tonight have we seen cars just get loose and snap coming out of turn 4? We've seen it with Kevin Stone. We've seen Floppy do it a couple of times. Garrett Gleason did that as well. So, you know, that's going to be one of those places to kind of keep an eye on. And if you're the 97, maybe I'm going to be a little more cautious with that gas pedal as this run moves on, especially with these older tires.
And Tellier's actually been able to gap Bustos a little bit. Now further back, you see the number 99 starting to creep into the picture. Jamar Dumas in the Stay Tuned Sports podcast. Ford Mustang is on pit road. Don't see any damage on that, so this could be our first pit stop kind of in a round of pit stops. We'll see how that all shakes out here momentarily, and whether or not these leaders will like to come down as we're working lap number 84. Still a good amount of laps left, 92 laps left on the books here tonight, as looks like a little bit further back. Ooh, battle for 3rd is broken out again, and almost contact between these two. And look who's trying to join the fray. That's Philip Scott, thinking about 3 wide on 3 wide TV. Thinks better of it, at least for now. But all of a sudden, somehow Tellier lost that little gap that he was developing to Bustos there, Bob. And now Philip Scott's on his heels.
Takes is just one little slip up, and you know the rest of the field is going to catch you, and that's exactly what happened here. Here comes Philip Scott. He's thinking about making it go 3 wide again, but he'll think better of it. This time Bustos is going to get a little bit better run on the 97. but momentum's still on the high side with Tellier as they fly off into one.
Well, Tellier's been really liking that high line, although he got loose that time, still having a little bit of a wiggle, still wiggling down the backstretch, almost getting into the rear quarter panel of Philip Scott. He's going to fall now down to the 5th position as Bustos now back up into 3rd, Philip Scott up into 2nd. But meanwhile, up at the front of the field, as the iRacing cameraman has a little bit of a moment, we got a side-by-side battle between these two breaking out. Bill Edwards to the inside, Tristan Thuggy Maher to the outside. Here as we work lap number 87 down the backstretch, Edwards in the Guardians of the Galaxy number 50. I think somewhere on that number 50, Groot has to be on there somewhere, surely. But at least for right now, Bill Edwards saying, "I am Bill," in that number 50 as they work their way through turn 1 and 2.
Bill Edwards there, strong on the inside, still not quite able to make that move work as all the momentum still up there on the high side, but he has been putting in one heck of a race here tonight. Just able to make moves that we don't really see a lot of drivers able to pull off. He's able to get it done. He was able to track down the 17 of Maher, and they're still battling out here, but this is another fantastic battle between Philip Scott and Jake Bustos.
Yeah, and Philip's going to take that spot. Bustos now going to try the over-under, not able to quite get there. And Bob, one thing to mention, we were talking about Philip Scott, remember, about 4.5 seconds off the race lead. He's been able to bring that down about a second or so, about a second and a half. He's still about 3 seconds off the front, but we'll see how that pans out as this run continues to click on by. Of course, we have been green flagged since around lap number 44, lap number 45 here, so definitely, for sure, the longest green flag run of the night so far, as we've had 2 caution flags here at the Iowa Speedway. One might say that the Kevin Stone incident may have needed to be a caution, but we're hearing that something has happened to the driver that was just battling for the race lead, Bill Edwards, in the Guardians of the Galaxy machine, off the racetrack, and just like this, all of a sudden, Bill Edwards' night went around on the front stretch and still spinning around. That's the wall. Just bounced it off the inside wall. Trying to keep it legal. Loses a couple of spots and gets things back going. But Bill Edwards goes from 2nd now all the way back to 10th in one fell swoop.
Just a tough break there for Edwards. Now Edwards heads down onto pit road. And Peter, I don't know if this is a little bit too soon for green flag pit stops to make it the end of the race. I certainly don't think Jamar Dumas is going to be able to make it to the end. But, I mean, if you're Bill Edwards, you just had that spin, might as well come down, try to gamble a little bit, hope for a yellows. Oh, the 97 of Mike Tellier, he has a moment getting on pit road as well.
Let's see what happened here to the number 97 machine. I think he was trying to get down onto pit road, and the back end just stepped out on him. Alma spun back up the racetrack and just makes it on past those barrels there at the end of pit road. So pit lane proving to be difficult to get into. Tellier finally able to get into his pit box, but this race starting to unravel for some of our contenders here tonight. Tristan Thuggy Maher, your race leader here, lap number 95, still 81 left in the books. We are just not all too far past halfway, and still plenty of racing left to go. Right over the angle saying dropped a lot of spots, still spun it out, hit the wall, but you know what, that could have been a whole lot worse for him. Yeah, Mike Floppy Tellier as well. So definitely a couple of these drivers struggling out here tonight. Maher, though, appears to probably be the one who's struggling the least. In fact, he's been able to get a few extra tenths of a second on this driver that you see right here. Philip Scott, Jake Bustos, another 1.3 seconds behind him. Then Josh Sobel in his Swamp Thing machine. But right now, we're hearing that race leader, Tristan Thuggy Maher, is on pit road, coming to his pit crew. The driver who started this race tonight on the pole, trying to get another trophy in his trophy case. in that number 17, as Maher so far this season has 2 wins to his credit. Let's see if he has a good pit stop here. That's one thing I noticed about this new Cup car, Bob, is those brakes, they don't like stopping at slow speeds. It just, you can put your foot to the floor and they just don't seem to stop at all.
They really don't. Now, I've found personally in the garage, even in these fixed setup races, is increasing the rear master cylinder to about 1 inch, I think, as big as it can go. And that'll help them stop a little bit better. But overall, you know, these brakes really are not happy. And as I say this, there's a yellow flag out on the racetrack.
Caution flag is out. And this could completely change the dynamic of this race. We're hearing that something has happened to the number 39 back channel production machine, racing with Robert Tripp in the number 35. Just a little tiny bit of contact. That's enough to send Jeff Price around. And just curious whether or not Robert Tripp had recently pitted. Yes, he had. So that is definitely going to be interesting. Let's get another look at this one. They're racing through the corner here, Bob. The 39 on older tires starts to wash up. The 35 there on the newer tires. Great job there by Andrew Beach to check up and not get into the side of the number 39. In fact, let's see if we can maybe go on board with Andrew Beach in the number 88 machine, as this wreck happened right in front of him. There it is. There's a spinning number 39. Ooh, I say that. He might have got rear-ended by the number 55 of Steven Doziak. Let's see if we can go see what happened to Doze there in his number 55. Let's see if we can get this. There we go. Perfect. And yep, there was definite contact there, Bob.
It's a little bit of a bump there. Good to see, though, there wasn't really a whole lot of damage, at least from that camera angle, to either of those two cars. So they should be fine. It looks like both of them have yet to pit. Now they're back down on pit road, and it doesn't look like a whole lot of damage had to be repaired for both of those machines. So good to see that. But now we'll see who gets trapped a lap down, who's going to stay out, and what all's going to happen here.
Yeah, definitely going to be interesting to see how it all shakes out. Can say that Jake Bustos right now, in the number 74, it's being scored as your race leader. Jamar Dumas is being scored in second. Tristan Maher, Andrew Beach, Steven Doziak Jr., Jeff Price, and Vincent Valvano all just came down pit road. Jamar Dumas, I think, only came down to take on fuel only. Did not take tires on the number 28. But interesting to see Tristan Thuggy Maher come down pit road, take on... actually, I take that back. Tristan Thuggy Maher did not come down pit road under this caution. He was actually on the lead lap when the caution flag came out. He kind of lucked out. But Philip Scott is being scored on the tail end of the lead lap. There he is. So he'll get a wave around, but will be at a little bit of a disadvantage to some of these other drivers who just pitted under this particular caution flag. So I know that will frustrate Philip Scott, as he could have just waited a couple of laps, Bob. You always hate to be that driver, to be on pit road when the caution flag comes out, because you realize, man, if I had just stayed one more lap on the racing surface, that would have been the difference.
Yeah, it's super frustrating when that happens to you, especially because, especially if you're like the 99, where he was running up in the top 5, had to come down pit road. 2 laps later, the yellow comes out, and you're just like, oh man, now I have to go to the end of the longest line, behind all the lapped cars, behind the damaged cars, and you kind of have to fight your way up through the field yet again. And it's just so deflating. But for a driver like Philip Scott, he's definitely up for the task. He's in 8th place, so he's not too far off of where he was before the yellow came out. But the lights on the pace truck are off, and we'll look to go green here.
Let's see if they elect to extend this particular caution, because we don't have some people lined up. No, iRacing pace truck heads down pit road. It will be Jake Bustos getting us back to green flag action here at the Iowa Speedway. Getting word that Tristan Thuggy Maher was not on the lead lap. He actually was our lucky dog under this caution flag, which put him back on the lead lap, allowed him to do what he needed to under that particular caution as well. But halfway down the backstretch, this is the battle for second. Stephen Dosiak Jr. and Jamar Dumas almost making contact with Andrew Beach, as Beach will move up into third. Then back behind him, Jeff Price was the car that went around to bring out the caution flag. He's being scored in sixth right now, battling back there with Tristan Thuggy Maher and Philip Scott.
Great battles all over the racetrack, but we definitely want to keep an eye on that 55 of Stephen Dosiak Jr. The last time he was up towards the front of this field, he got a little squirrely coming out of turn 2 at Auto Club and wound up taking out half the field. So gonna have to keep an eye on the 55 of Doze, obviously tongue-in-cheek there, but some good battles all over the racetrack. Here's the 17 of Tristan Thuggy Maher, about to put his sights on the 55 of Dosiak just to see what he can do.
Well, I gotta say that number 55, just like a piece of fruit stripe gum. Great for the first half, and then absolutely terrible for the last half. Doze, we're just making fun of you. I know you're probably listening to the broadcast right now. Doze sitting in the third position in the fruit stripe zebra machine. I gotta say, fruit gum has never been my favorite thing in the world. Give me mint gum or else. I'm just never been a fan. I've tried, this fruit gum, that fruit gum, but nothing beats minty gum or cinnamon gum. I love cinnamon gum as well. Just fruit gum, no. Sorry, Doze. A little bit further back in the pack, Back Channel Productions number 39, Jeff Price there, here in the Back Channel Productions 175. In danger of falling outside of the top 10. Bill Edwards needed that caution flag, Bob. Remember, he was involved in that self-spin. Maybe he can use this kind of as a springboard to work his way back up through the field here as the lap count winds down. He needed that, but now he's kind of at a disadvantage on tires because he pitted on lap number 91. He has 8 lap older tires than some of these drivers he's racing around right now, so that could be a little bit of a disadvantage, but Bill makes the best of it as he moves up into 9th. Of course, he is your points leader here in the Total Nonstop Racing League 3-Wide TV Cup. He comes into tonight with an 84-point advantage over Tristan Thuggy Maher. Maher currently back up to 4th position after being our lucky dog under that caution flag. It was only our 3rd caution flag that we've had here tonight, although one could argue maybe could have had a couple of extra ones here on the front stretch if it wasn't for some spins down into the infield and off the racing surface, as now Jeff Price looks to make a pass here on Jamar Dumas. This would be for the 9th spot here on lap 110.
I don't want to jinx any more drivers, but the 39 of Jeff Price, aside from that spin, has been having himself a really good race in that Back Channel Productions machine. This obviously being the Back Channel Productions race here at Iowa, so, good to see the sponsor doing quite well in this race, and, we'll look to see if that 39 can make any other moves forward, but 97 Mike Floppy Tellier able to get around him there.
Yeah, Tellier now racing with Jamar Dumas for the position right there. Remember, Tellier also had that big moment coming down onto pit lane. See a little bit of left front damage on the 97. Not sure if it's from that particular accident or not, but nonetheless, let's look a little bit up towards the front of the field as Jake Bustos continues to lead. He has led ever since the drop of the green flag here just a little while ago. Behind him, Andrew Beach, highest up that we see in the number 88 here tonight. Mentioned that he was putting together a pretty solid run earlier in the show, and that caution flag being fortuitous for his Chevrolet Camaro as well. Stephen Dosiak, we highlighted him running in 3rd. And it's a little bit of a gap between these two. And Bob, how many times have we seen these two battle this season here in the 3-Wide TV Cup as Philip Scott and Tristan Thuggy Maher toe-to-toe out of turn 4?
Yeah, definitely more times to count than I can count, that's for sure. As we see the 99 of Philip Scott able to dive into turn 1. He had him by about a bumper cover. We'll see here out of turn 2 who has the better advantage. The 99 of Philip Scott going to lose a bit of ground there to Tristan Maher. But so far, a good battle between these two drivers. And, it's going to be interesting to see if these guys can close that gap between the cars ahead. Right now, they're about 2.5 seconds behind the leader. About a second separates these two from the 55 of Stephen Dosiak. So you know, just side by side. If you're Doze, you're looking in the mirror saying, all right, guys, keep battling side by side. Let me drive away.
Yeah, these two are battling with one another hard, and you have to think how much tire they're using as well. Sometimes you just want to let the other driver by, you know, because you're just using up so much tire battling side by side, especially Philip Scott. He's down there on the flatter portion of the racetrack as they continue to kind of seesaw back and forth. Maybe Philip Scott's finally cleared him. No. Yes. Had to run him up the racetrack, but finally able to do enough. Now it looks like Maher has a sniff to the inside. Not able to find it just yet, as Philip Scott able to grab onto fourth, see if he can run down Steven Doziak Jr., Andrew Beach, and Jake Bustos as this run continues on. Slightly older tires on these two cars, although I want to say maybe the 99 of Philip Scott will effectively be on similar tires to everyone else. I think he was on pit lane when the caution flag flew. But right now, some good battles happening out there on the racetrack for position. Let's look a little bit further back behind them. There's Vincent Valvano. Haven't said a whole lot about the number 64 Bagcraft Ford Mustang here tonight, but so far so good. How many times have we seen this, Bob? I mean, we talked about, we've seen a lot of battles between the 99 and the 17, but how many times have we seen Vincent Valvano just put together a solid but quiet night? And that's what he's doing right here tonight at Iowa.
And that's kind of been the whole story of the season there for Vinny. Just a very quiet but consistent racer, week in and week out. He's not going to give you those flashy moves, but he's always right there all the way up until the end of the race. And even then, he's always right there just behind the big battles and having himself a really quiet race and a good race and a great season overall there.
Yeah, Vincent Valvano finds himself sixth position in the point standings. Unfortunately, the fifth place driver in the point standings and the fourth place driver in the point standings not here tonight. Jason Gracias, he's not here tonight. He came into tonight fourth in points. Shane Ewing came into tonight fifth place in points. He also was not present. Seventh place in points, Jeff Price, of course, here. Philip Scott in eighth, Garrett Gleason in ninth, and Andrew Beach in 10th in points. And we highlighted earlier, it is Bill Edwards who is our points leader and currently our seventh place driver out there on the racetrack. He's back there, Josh Sobel, about a second or so behind him, seventh and eighth right now. Tallier another second back, Jeff Price another couple of seconds back, and then Giamar Dumas currently 14 seconds or so behind your race leader. Robert Tripp sits 2 laps down. And then behind him, the 4 drivers that have had the most trouble here tonight: Jason Schue, Johnny Williams, Kevin Stone, and Garrett Gleason. As all of a sudden, Philip Scott has caught Steven Doziak Jr. This will be the battle for the third position. Scott trying to depose the number 55 of that spot. Looks like it's going to happen here mighty quickly, Bob, as Philip Scott moves himself up into third. Still only about 2.8 seconds behind Jake Bustos. That's good. Remember, we saw Philip Scott close in about 2 seconds or so under that last long green flag run that we had. We'll see whether or not he can do that again here as we're closing in on 50 laps to go.
Yeah, I cannot believe there's already 50 laps to go here in this race. Just a lot of great battles all over this racetrack. The 17 of Tristan Maher has not left the back bumper of that 99 machine since this restart, and they've kind of been doing a good job working with each other all the way up through the field. They're going to have their battles here and there, but just able to kind of slice their way up through the field. Got around the 55 of Doziak, setting their sights now on the 88 of Andrew Beach, so they're able to make their way up through the track while racing and while battling. The 74 of Bustos, he might have to look out after a while.
Yeah, Bustos, though, currently holding on to a 2.2 second lead over Andrew Beach. Maher, though, wanting this position back from Philip Scott. Oh, something has happened to Jeff Price in the number 39 machine. Bob, seeing the number 39 on pit road, looks like Maher was able to complete that pass. Let's see if we can figure out what happened here to the Back Channel Productions number 39 machine. see if something major happened to him. Here we go, back on the 3-wide TV replay through turns number 1 and 2. Goes up the racetrack, into the wall, fairly hefty there. Wonder if that broke some suspension as he works his way through turns number 3 and 4 here. Just does not seem to be right. He pulls it down onto pit road hard. That is a very hard left turn, and into his, that's not his pit box. He just pulls over on the side of the racetrack and jumps to pit road. So that's a tough break for our race sponsor, the number 175 back channel productions machine, or number 39 back channel productions machine, I should say, here in the back channel productions 175.
Yeah, and looks like he has officially brought that car to the garage and will be out of the race for tonight. So a really tough break out there for him. He was having himself a great run, and yeah, it looks like just a bit of a suspension issue. These cars and toe links are pretty fragile if you hit the wall at the wrong angle, and unfortunately that's exactly what happened there for Price.
Yeah, tough break for him. There's Jake Bustos holding on to a 2.5-second lead over our new second-place driver, Tristan Thuggy Maher, who has really led the most laps here tonight so far. If you're just now tuning in, a caution flag during a sequence of pit stops has turned this race a little bit on its head. Jake Bustos has been able to lead ever since we went back to green flag. Johnny Williams saying he's done for the night, dropped out of the server, came back, lost 2 sets of tires for some reason, and just wore out his last set. Yeah, Johnny, that does happen. I think if you fall out of the session and your car gets towed back to pit road, I think sometimes they throw on a fresh set of tires. So that's probably how you lost at least one of those sets. Rich Sobel saying 95 degrees in Pensacola, Florida today. It was about that here where I am in North Texas today as well. I am ready for the humidity and the heat to go away. They're saying there's going to be a cold front early next week. I'm looking forward to it. I think that's going to drop the highs down to the mid-80s here where I am, and that is, to me, a much more bearable temperature, but looking forward to that. No rain showing for the next 10 days, and I think that's the same case as it is here. Yes, we get a cold front, but no rain in sight here in North Texas as well, so tough to see that. I'm already ready for some rain where I'm at, but nonetheless, the track conditions here at the Iowa Speedway are hot, as Bustos is slowly starting to be closed in here, Bob. We're going to have to start talking about this because let's look at that time delta between our top 5. Notice that it's just starting to close in a little bit. Maher just now to about 2.3 seconds behind Bustos. It was about 2.5 seconds a couple of laps ago. It's starting to shrink, but I wouldn't say it's shrinking quickly. Just a slow trickle right now.
Yeah, just a little bit, maybe a couple of tenths here and there. Last time by, Thuggy was about 2 tenths faster than Bustos at a, well, as they say that at refresh, now they ran the the exact same lap time. So that's going to be interesting as this race goes on. If the 17 was able to save just enough to track down Bustos, or if those battles with Philip Scott ultimately will get the better of him and had some older tires out there on the racetrack.
Do want to make mention that we saw Bill Edwards come down there just a moment ago. He was on those older tires, Bob, and definitely trying to come down to make this last sprint to the finish. Just under 40 laps to go here, as Bustos will now make it 39 as they go across the stripe. I believe Stephen Doziak Jr. also was on those older tires. He's now come down pit road. So starting to see some plays early on here. Bob, when do you think we'll see Bustos come down pit road?
Yeah, I mean, right now he's been out there for 38 laps, and if it's between 75 to 80 laps on this fuel run, he might be cutting it close. So you almost want to see, okay, should I undercut right now? Should I overcut and run longer? Will I even need, should I even come down and pit? Do people behind me even have to pit? And yeah, there's a lot of questions right now, but if I'm Bustos, I might be thinking about coming into pit soon enough. As soon as I see a couple other competitors duck down, I might join them as well.
And what about Tristan Thuggy Maher, Philip Scott? They have an opportunity to try and undercut Jake Bustos as well. I mean, multiple strategies could come into play here on 3 Wide TV in the next couple of laps. We'll just have to wait and see. Meanwhile, there is a battle for position right here between Andrew Beach and Josh Sobel. This is the battle for the 4th position as they run on the racetrack. Mr. Swamp Thing still trying to recover from that disastrous restart earlier in the race. That number 75, what is he going to do? As we saw a car on pit road, that is Tristan Maher, who has elected to try that undercut we were just talking about. Looks like Sobel, though, able to move up into now 3rd with Maher pitting and relinquishing his 2nd position. But now that Maher's on pit road, Bob, you'd have to think Bustos can't stay out there all too long. He's going to have to react to that.
Yeah, definitely not. And, you also kind of have to sit there and think, okay, it's been about 42 lap run on these tires. If I come down and pit now, this is about how my car is going to feel at the end of the race. So, if you're comfortable with the way the car is handling right now, come on down, get some fresh tires. Don't let the undercut work, and, and go at it from there. As we take a look at the 3 Wide TV replay, Mike Tellier again loose out of 4.
Yeah, I think, oh no, this is a replay of earlier. This is not a replay of earlier. I mean, it is a replay of earlier because Tellier did that exact same thing earlier in the race. And I thought he was trying to get to pit road during that replay. And then the back end was starting to come around. Well, then we jumped back live and the same thing happened. That happened to him earlier in the night. I mean, my oh my, pretty crazy there. Mike needs to work on his pit stops, I guess, a little bit before next week's race, which is at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Now, I do want to make an announcement here on 3 Wide TV next week. It's a busy month for me here on the channel. And for me personally, as Bustos there, I thought he was thinking of going down pit road. He may have. What type of lap time was that on a Jake Bustos? It was a 25.9. I guess that's on par with the other drivers around him. He just seemed a little bit slow. But do want to make an announcement next week. I have a lot of things going on in my life. One of those things is one of my relatives is getting married next weekend. So I will not be able to broadcast next Monday night. So we will not have next week's race at Charlotte Motor Speedway here on the channel. But do want to make mention that the week after that, we won't have a broadcast either, as that is the week in between the playoffs, or chase rather, starting. So we will have the chase in its entirety here on the channel. So that will be fun for everyone at home to see who walks home with the 3 Wide TV Championship at the end of this summer season here in the Total Nonstop Racing League. I cannot wait until we see that checkered flag fall to end the season here in just a couple of months. It's coming up fast here, about our final round of the season coming at the Homestead Miami on November 7th, 2022. Of course, the week before that, Bob, we got Halloween night, October 31st at Nashville Super Speedway. I hope we see some spooky schemes that night.
Yeah, I'm definitely hoping they opt for a bit of a spooky scheme, orange and black, something like that, to really play up the Halloween spirit. It's always fun seeing those special paint schemes out there on the racetrack, and hopefully they're able to do that and get the trick-or-treating early with some racing here.
I would take that any night of the week. And let's talk about the chase. Well, we get a little bit of downtime here before Jake Bustos makes what will be his final pit stop of the night. Bob, we got Vegas, Darlington, Dover, Nashville, and Homestead, Miami. 5 absolutely fantastic racetracks. I mean, Darlington on there, Dover on there, those 2 alone are going to be 2 fantastic races.
Yeah, definitely. I'm really looking forward to Dover, as that's one of my, quote-unquote home tracks, a little over an hour away from me. But, I love the challenge that Dover presents for these drivers, especially in this next-gen car. Going to be a lot of slipping and sliding there. Darlington, running the wall. It's easy to get out of groove just a little bit, hit the wall, and have a bit of an issue on the track. So, those 2 tracks are really a big wild card for these drivers. Plus, with Nashville Super Speedway in there, 1 1/3 mile racetrack, and then Homestead is just the perfect place to end the season with the progressive banking and all that. This playoffs, or chase rather, is going to be a lot of fun to see, who's going to walk away with this one at the end of the year.
That it is, but we still have to figure out who's going to get the win here tonight. 25 laps to go here on 3Y TV. Bustos, Scott, Beach, Valvano, 64 machine finally coming down onto pit road. There he is in his Bagcraft Ford Mustang. And I just wonder, Bob, if maybe, just maybe, the number 74, Jake Bustos, is thinking about that caution flag that came out during that last round of pit stops. But this is another thing that I want to note. Maybe Bustos is trying to stretch it all the way to the checkered flag. I'm not sure if that's doable, but you'd have to think with 24 laps to go that that might be what's on his mind here.
Definitely. I mean, just kind of looking at this, Peter, he's got 54 laps on this run right now. There's 23 laps to go. That's 77 laps. And talking with Tristan in the beginning of this race, he said the pit window is anywhere between 70 and 80 laps. So, he very well could be trying to save as much as possible, and he might be trying to go all the way and just go on this fuel run here, Peter.
Well, this is what's working against him right now. Tristan Maher in the number 17 is the first driver who has pitted here tonight. The graphic on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen is the last 8 laps. And in the last 8 laps, Tristan Maher has almost erased half of the deficit that he had between the front two. We still have 21 laps to go. If Maher can continue to close in at the pace he's closing in at, which is about a full second a lap, Bob, it's not going to matter if Bustos can save enough fuel to make it to the end of the race. Maher is absolutely on a tear, but he has to continue that pace. Now that last time by, you can see the last lap times at the top of your screen. Jake Bustos ran a 26.22 to Tristan Thuggy Maher's 24.6. That's 1.6 seconds that last time by that Maher closed in. Maher's going to be here in just a handful of laps, Bob. I don't think it's going to matter. I think Maher's got the winning strategy if this stays green flag.
Yeah, I agree with you, Peter. The way he's been able to cut his way up through the field is definitely the winning strategy. But that being said, if a yellow were to come out right now, these drivers all on the lead lap, anywhere, it looks like P1 through 7 who are on the lead lap right now. If that yellow comes out, they're coming down, getting fresh tires. Do you stay out if you're someone like Josh Sobel, Jamar Dumas, Vinny Valvano? I know Valvano was just on pit road about 5 laps ago, but some of these other drivers have about, 12, anywhere between 12 and 20 laps on their tires. So they may not be as fast as these guys with the fresh tires. So, there's even another question is, if the yellow comes out, do you stay out and get that lap back and get that track position?
That's a really good question. We'll just have to wait and see. Meanwhile, Tristan Thuggy Maher, you saw it right there on your screen, just made the pass for second. The number 17 on those fresher tires. But like you said, Bob, caution flag was to come out. They don't know if he has a set left on the pit wall to put on the Eclipse Photography Ford Mustang here. Good. Put the race in favor of Bustos, but at least right now, just now, under 7 seconds. You see the graphic there, bottom right-hand corner of your screen. The number 74 is right between turns number 1 and 2 right now. As you see the number 17 hit the stripe. But that gap is closing in a hurry. Bill Edwards also starting to close in on the back of Andrew Beach. Edwards pitted on lap number 133 here tonight, 6 laps before Tristan Thuggy Maher. So we know Edwards can make it on fuel. He's also got those fresher tires, so Edwards might be looking at a good finish as well. What a night it has been for the number 50 up and down the scoring pylon. Meanwhile, Philip Scott here, Bob, the number 99, a very late stop for Philip. He's back out there on the racing circuit but he's now down 3 laps. I don't know what happened to Philip Scott. Maybe you can do a little bit of research here. The only thing I can think of is that Philip must have had a penalty or something on pit road. He, on my screen, showing a 55-second pit stop. Usually that is a 40-second stop and hold. So he must have done something wrong, whether it's speeding or a pit cone violation or something. But Philip Scott tonight, all of a sudden, turned upside down, currently being scored in 10th.
Looks like a pit road violation for the 99. Just kind of did what the 97 Atelier did, slid coming onto pit road. But unfortunately, the way he slid, he kind of straddled the pit line. And when his car came to a stop, he was right up against the inside of the pit wall, had to back out. So I'm sure he got black flagged for unsafe pit entry. And that's why he was in his box for so long.
Oh, man, absolute heartbreak for Philip Scott. Could not happen at a worse time here. Still, though, inside the top 10 in that number 99. In fact, for a while there, he had a top 10 streak going. Now, Philip Scott has 7 starts so far this season and has finished in the top 10 5 times. Got that win a couple weeks ago at the Sonoma Raceway out there in the Napa Valley. But it does not look like it is meant to be here tonight. Meanwhile, up at the front of the field, Jake Bustos, Bob, has been all but caught by Tristan Thuggy Maher, now just a second separating those two. Bill Edwards has now worked himself up into 3rd. Can you believe that? Mike Floppy Tellier is closing in on Andrew Beach. Josh Sobel in the number 75 also closing in on that group. We could have some crazy battles here, but at least for right now, with 10 laps to go, we'll keep our eyes on this battle for the race lead, as it is now underneath a second. Bustos just does not look like he has the power on the straightaway there, Bob. Just cannot put the power down like Maher can. I don't think this is going to be much of a fight once Maher finally catches Bustos.
Yeah, that is for sure. As we see here, the 99 or the 17 rather, catching up on the 74. Bustos going low, Maher going high, and look at that. There's the 99 to Philip Scott. He's a few laps down, but even then, he's getting right in the middle of this battle as Maher is going to go to the point.
Yeah, Tristan Thuggy Maher right where he started this race from the pole, now scored in the 1st position with 8 laps to go. Bustos, nothing he can do on those old tires. Meanwhile, back behind them, a couple of positions changing hands. Mike Floppy Tellier worked his way up into 4th. Joshua Sobel has actually worked his way up into 5th position. There is Josh. He got around Andrew Beach just a lap or 2 ago as he tries to track down the 3rd position of Edwards and 4th position of Tellier. I think Tellier is starting to close in. Let's see if we can figure out. Ooh, Edwards, I think, might have just caught the wall. That's not going to help. But let's see right here, this gap between these two drivers on your screen, as it is now basically erased. You see, just 5 laps ago, it was upwards of 2.2 seconds. Now, it's nothing as Edwards loses that spot. Now we'll look at the gap between Bill Edwards and Joshua Sobel. You see, Sobel has caught almost 4 whole seconds over the last 5 laps on Bill Edwards. So Sobel's going to be here in a hurry. You think that Sobel can maybe pick up 4th spot, and maybe Sobel can start to battle with Tellier for that podium position at the end of the night.
Yeah, that could be a really interesting battle here. 5 laps to go. Sobel right there on the heels of Edwards. So we'll see what happens here. Sobel goes to the inside. I believe he had the position there, and he's going to be able to clear him down in the 1.
So Sobel now up into 4th. You're not missing anything up the front of the field. Bustos still about 2.5 seconds behind Tristan Thuggy Maher. Andrew Beach, Stephen Doziak Jr. battling for position. Doze is on the fresher tires, and he's looking to make that pass stick. Will do so. So move Doze up to the 6th spot. Let's go back to Tellier versus Sobel as Tellier throws up some sparks there in the middle of turns number 1 and 2. And having some connection issues as well. Now having a big wiggle. This is going to be fantastic for Sobel as he closes right on in, coming to just 3 laps to go for these two.
This is a great battle here for the final podium position. as looks like Floppy just having some connection issues, getting loose again out of 4. And now here's Sobel. Looks like he's shifted back down in the 4th gear. These drivers shifting a lot in these next-gen cars. He's right on the back bumper of the 97.
The number 75 looks to the inside. This is the battle for third and the final podium position. 2 laps to go as they go across the start-finish line. The Swamp Thing trying to recover from that earlier restart problem that he had. Not sure what happened. That's going to be an interesting question if we get to interview him after the race. But for right now, Sobel to the inside. Sobel, I thought he had it there, Bob, as they went off into the corner. White flag is in the air for Tristan Thuggy Maher, but we're going to keep our eyes on this battle, at least for right now, as they go across the stripe, get the white flag.
Side by side, yet again, diving down into turn number 1. Josh Sobel to the inside. He's finally able to clear the 97 down the back straightaway.
Coming out of turn number 4, though, Tristan Thuggy Maher from the pole wins at Iowa. Great job for him. Then the number 74 of Jake Bustos comes across the line. I think he's out of fuel. And then third goes to Joshua Sobel, who gets an interview here. Just beating out Mike Floppy Tellier late. Bill Edwards comes across the line in 5th. Stephen Doziak Jr. and Andrew Beach finishes in 7th. Vincent Valvano, Jamar Dumas, and Philip Scott rounding out our top 10 finishers here tonight on 3 Wide TV. But wow, what a great run for Tristan Thuggy Maher. Bob, you have to say that here tonight, probably the fastest car. I don't think anyone was able to really get to Tristan on the scoring pylon, even though we kind of had ups and downs and a couple of unopportune caution flags for the number 17 you see right here on your screen. He's able to get the job done here at the end of the night and burning it down here on the front stretch.
Yeah, just what a great complete race there for the 17 of Maher. Just, had, like you said, a couple of ups and downs. Really, though, was just the car to beat all race long. He had a good battle, a few good battles there with the 99 of Philip Scott and Mike Tellier as well. So, just a good, well-deserved race win for Tristan.
Yeah, I don't think I could have put it any better than that. A very well-deserved win for the number 17 here, picking up his third win on the season here in the 3 Wide TV Cup Series. Of course, getting the wins earlier this year at Daytona and Twin Ring Motegi. So 3 very different racetracks to get the win at here for Thuggy Maher. But we're going to get some post-race interviews for everyone here on the channel. Jake Bustos, Joshua Sobel, and of course, Tristan Thuggy Maher here. Bob, some good stuff. Let's see if maybe we can take it away with... Bob, I'll let you take it away with tonight's third place finisher, driver of the number 75 machine, Joshua Sobel.
Yeah, I'm down here with the driver of the 75, Joshua Sobel. Third place finish. And Josh, first of all, congratulations on P3. Yeah, I'm sure our viewers want to know what happened there on that final restart.
I was so my brain is just not working today. It's been hot. I've been working outside all day, so apologize for this interview. It's probably going to be rough, but I was in 5th gear. It was great. A lot of fun, and I didn't even think about it until it was too late, and then I was like, all right, now I got to fight my way back up to the front.
Yeah, and great driving by the rest of the field to kind of avoid you there, and it just kind of looked like you fell backwards a little bit. Talk to me about your way to kind of claw your way up through the field, able to come down pit road, get some fresh tires while a couple of the other drivers stayed out. Able to avoid some of the wrecks and that kind of stuff that happened there as well. Just kind of talk me through that last half of the race.
Well, I was dropping it to 4th just to get the churning into the corner in mid corner of the turn there, because it does tighten up quite a bit in 5th, and I just like dropping these things in 4th. I don't know, it's just been consistent for me, so I did that the whole race. That second stint or second row pit stops, it got really squirrely. This thing loosened up a lot like throughout the whole corner. You went in a little too deep, and it wasn't going to be fun. So just trying to back up my corners as much as possible to save as much tire. I knew I was going to lose spots, but I knew I was going to gain those later, and that's what I cared about. So I didn't really care in the beginning of the race. And just honestly, just trying to stay as focused as I could. I don't really race this track a whole lot. I've never raced it in the next gen cups. So, I mean, I'm pretty proud with how everything came out. Pit strategy was great. Getting on the pit road here, man, is rough on old tires. That thing wants to slide out from under you. I think I had a little issue getting on the second row of pit stops, and yeah, I mean, it was just like an ice rink out there.
And, you know, you mentioned saving tires, saving fuel. How difficult was it? I know this track isn't exactly the friendliest to tires. And, you know, with the bumps and everything like that, you kind of have to worry about chattering the tires and sliding them as well. How difficult was it out there?
Turn 1 is rough. If you go too high, you hit like 3 sets of bumps at the high side, and it really upsets the car on new tires. So I don't even want to know what that's like on old tires. And then if you got a little too low, just a little bit after like a pit exit, there's another bump that really upset the car too. So it was just kind of finding that middle ground. And once I found a good line into 1 and 2, which is what I was kind of struggling with, the rest of the race was good. I like 3 and 4. Normally 4 is pretty loose off, but I mean, as long as you manage the throttle well enough, you could get really good runs off. So that's pretty much what I focused on the whole entire night. Dropping it to 4th, I feel like all that stuff kind of helped me out.
And, you know, next week, racing at Charlotte Motor Speedway, what are your thoughts there?
I love Charlotte. I love the intermediate tracks, 1.5 mile track. So if I could survive Iowa and at least get a top 3, I feel very comfortable with Charlotte.
Awesome. And, you know, before we let you go, I'm sure you have some shout outs, so let's hear them.
Yeah, my dad is back. He's been gone for a bit, so thank you for him for hanging out. I know he chatters a lot in the in the chat here, so I like to see it. Harpoon Design for the awesome paint scheme that I won last week. I'm probably going to finish it out, honestly, the rest of the season. I like it way too much. So shopangryduck.com for all your apparel needs, shopangryduck.com. harpoondesign.com for all the paint schemes. He does everything that I do. Guys at TNR for putting on a great show. Tristan for killing it, coming out in first, and TNR group pretty much in the top 5. You guys in the booth, I love being up here when I get a chance, and it doesn't happen very often, so thank you for putting on everything and doing a great job every week.
Awesome. Well, congratulations again, Joshua, and we're looking forward to seeing you out there next week at Charlotte.
Yeah, I will be there.
All right, that'll do it for our third place finisher, and I believe Peter's caught up with second place finisher Jake Bustos.
Yeah, I'm down here with tonight's runner-up, who continues to just keep getting podiums here in the 3Y TV Cup Series. Jake Bustos, Peter Short, 3Y TV booth. You got a copy?
Hi, sir. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Man, I'll tell you what, that number 74 was fast here tonight. And I think the big question is, and I think it's a pretty easy answer, when should have you made an additional pit stop here tonight?
Well, once I saw Thuggy come in, I considered it, but talking it over with my crew chief, we came to the decision or the assumption that he wasn't going to be able to make up that much time. And then I saw, I think it was the other guy. I don't remember his name off the top of my head. Sorry. I think Peter or Philip or something like that. He came in the pit and I was like, I should come in now. And at that point, my race would have been over. So I kind of made my bed when I didn't come in with Dougie.
Well, nonetheless, I'll tell you what, Philip Scott came down pit road and he had a pit road violation. So at least you were able to stay out there on the racetrack and, you know, fight home for a runner-up. But you continue to string these podium finishes together. That must give you some good confidence.
I'm just going to go ahead and have G change my name to Bridesmaid Bustos in the server or something like that. That's all we can seem to get over here. You know, it's good for the consistency. You know, we're there. We got speed. It's just frustrating after a while.
And the joke is on you because I have admin server rights in Discord. So you're now Bridesmaid Bustos here on the Discord channel as of right now. But, nonetheless, you're going to break through at some point. You kind of know that as you start to string these these good finishes back together. Of course, next week is Charlotte Motor Speedway. And then after that, we have some great races, including Dover on the calendar, Darlington's on the calendar. We got some other races like Vegas, Nashville, and Homestead, Miami. Any of those races kind of jump at you to actually finally break through and change Bridesmaid Bustos to winner Bustos?
Probably Nashville would be my favorite out of the ones that we have remaining. I'm living local to the Speedway right now, so it's pretty entertaining to have it in the backyard, and it's a fun track. It's kind of every corner is different, so it'll be fun to see the lines and the strategies people play out over there.
Yeah, that is for sure one of my favorites on the calendar as well. But Jake, before we let you go, any shout-outs you like to give out here tonight?
Of course, I got to thank you guys up here in the 3Y booth. The broadcasts are fantastic, and I can't wait to watch Stuggy close in on me for 40 laps or whatever it was. Garrett and Floppy over here, and everyone else behind the scenes at Total Nonstop Racing. I appreciate you guys. All the drivers here. It was fantastic. There was some close racing. Everyone was running each other fairly respectful out there, so that was great. I got to thank my crew chief, DJ Weeks. A little mad at him when I left the Discord, so I apologize, DJ. I still love you, baby, and I'll be over there in a minute. And I just hope the viewers at home enjoyed the race.
Yeah, definitely a fun one here tonight on 3Y TV. But Jake, we'll let you go, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Yeah, hopefully the last interview one of these days. Take care, guys.
All right, that's going to do it for tonight's runner-up. I accidentally had him as the 32nd place driver for a little while. But time to go down to Victory Lane, where Bob Giaquinto has caught up with Tristan Thuggy Maher.
I'm down here in Victory Lane with tonight's winner of the Back Channel Productions 175, Tristan Thuggy Maher. And Tristan, first of all, congratulations on the win. Talk me through your pit strategy there. One of the first drivers to come down pit road, and you're able to track down Bustos, and you're able to get the win.
Well, Bob, this race was a roller coaster of emotions. In the beginning, I was feeling pretty good. I was having some battles up front with Mike and Bill Edwards, and I was having a good time. And then, one of the first green flag pit stops, I went to pit, and I chose the wrong time. I guess it could have been worse, but I chose the wrong time to pit, and that put me as the lucky dog. So I went a lap down, and then I was the lucky dog, so I got my lap back. I was back on the lead lap, but I had to start behind a bunch of people. So that was kind of the down in emotion, because it is kind of hard to pass here. There is good racing and stuff, but again, in these cars, like Dirty Air is intense. You're never going to pass somebody if you're just riding in the same line that they're in, so you absolutely have to search around the track and find a different line. Try to get a run off the corner without hitting the wall and getting stuck in their tunnel of air. But that was the first kind of downside of my emotions. So when that green flag dropped, I had to kind of push. I started like, I don't know, it was like 8th place or something like that. I had to push in the beginning to get around a bunch of cars, try to get myself some track position back. Once I got probably do 4th or 3rd, I would say, I was stalling out. I didn't have the pace anymore, just because of all the racing and passing that I was doing. I got to about second. I got to 2nd place, and I realized that I wasn't catching Jake. So I needed to figure out a different strategy. I knew I was close on fuel, so I just decided, what the heck? Instead of worrying about saving fuel, how about I just pit and I push as hard as I can. And that's exactly what I did. I pit, got some fresh tires, and it felt good. being the fastest car out there for a second.
Yeah, and what was your thought process there when you came down pit road and you saw that Jake was staying out? Did you have one? Was there ever a moment where you're sitting there thinking, "Oh man, he's out there, he's got a big lead. I don't think I'm going to be able to catch him," or did you kind of know, all right, I got fresh tires, I'm going to track him down?
I definitely doubted. Myself from the moment that I pulled into the pits because I was kind of waiting until a certain lap, and once I saw that Jake was staying out, and then I saw that Philip was staying out, I was like, dang it, I think I made the wrong decision here. Those guys are going to make it on fuel for sure. But it just worked out. I mean, I got fresh tires. I didn't make any mistakes. I didn't. I pushed, but I didn't push too hard. To absolutely take my pace out too fast. Yeah, I was a little bit nervous. I mean, a whole lap and some change to catch up is a lot.
Next week, obviously racing at Charlotte, and then we'll have the chase coming up with tracks like Vegas, Dover, Homestead, Darlington. Are there any tracks that kind of stick out in your mind and say, all right, I can definitely get a win or get a great finish at this track or that track?
Darlington. I absolutely love Darlington. I love Homestead too, and they're both going to be about saving tires. Darlington's going to be, there's some tire saving in there, but also just to not get your stripes, keep the car clean. I think will be a big part of that race. Homestead is always a blast. I've never raced there in this car yet, but I know it's normally a multiple lane track, so there should be some fantastic racing there.
Well, Tristan, before we let you go, I'm sure you have some shout outs for us, so let's hear them.
Yeah, TNR. It is a fantastic league. Look us up on Discord, Total Nonstop Racing. We have a Facebook. Shoot us a message if you guys are interested in getting in on any of these races. We have this awesome Eclipse photography Ford Mustang painted by Max Graphics. Chris Darling over there. Fantastic. Probably one of my favorite paint jobs that I've ever ran. You guys up in the booth for sure. Love going back to watch the broadcasts. And then my teammates, Mike, Philip. Today I was on the channel with Sobel and Bill Edwards. Thanks to all them. Just having a good time racing. This is what we do on our Monday nights.
Awesome. Well, Tristan, congratulations there on the win, and looking forward to seeing you out there next week at Charlotte.
Thanks, Bob.
All right, well, that's going to do it. So with our race winner, Thuggy Maher, here tonight in the Back Channel Productions 175 here on 3 Wide TV. Let's see if we can bring up those final race results for all of you fans back at home. Maher gets the win by 6 seconds in the end over Bustos. Joshua Sobel coming home in third. Surprisingly, only 2.8 seconds behind the number 74 at the checkered flag. Mike Floppy Telly are going to finish in fourth. Bill Edwards in fifth. Stephen Doziak Jr. finishing in sixth. Andrew Beach in seventh. Vincent Valvano in eighth. Jamar Dumas in ninth. Philip Scott rounding out our top 10 here tonight, Bob.
In P11 is the 35 machine of Robert Tripp. Jeff Price, unfortunately, after having some accident on the racetrack, finishes back in 12th. Jason Schue, 13th. Johnny Williams in 14th. Kevin Stone and Garrett Gleason will round out tonight's field.
So that's pretty much going to do it for us here tonight on 3 Wide TV. Reminder, no broadcast next week. No broadcast the week after that, but we'll be back in 3 weeks' time for the Total Nonstop Racing 3 Wide TV chase for the Cup here on the channel. Definitely going to be a lot of fun to see how it's all going to play out here in a league that is near and dear to my heart, that is for sure. But until we meet again here on the channel, folks, stay safe and all that good stuff, and we shall see ya!